Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to Phil's Recap and Review. This is The Sopranos, Season 4, Episode 10 and Episode 11, The Strong, Silent Type, and Episode 11, Calling All Cars. But really, let's call this episode what it is. It's the intervention episode. Here we go. It's time for this. We've been waiting for this for a long time, or I have been waiting for this for a long time. I asked this in the question in the poll tonight. If you're watching live, joining in the live chat, make sure you answer the poll question. Is this the funniest moment, the funniest scene in all of The Sopranos? I'm going to say right off the bat, my vote is yes. And of course, I'm not alone on this Soprano adventure. I have with me, as always, Big Daddy Matt. What's going on tonight, Matt?
And these are such great episodes. They're such great episodes. They are, and having said that, I don't even think either one of them is ever on the list of best episode. But there's just so much going on that's so important to the story. And like you said, that scene, I don't want to even.
Yeah, should we start talking about it or not? I don't know if I want to talk. No, we'll wait till it happens to talk about it. But I think the reason why, Matt, is if you look at season 4 and looking back at this, and we're doing season 4 more succinctly than we've done in a long time for talking about Soprano episodes. Meaning, like we're getting out here regularly and talking about them. So I'm similar to the way we were a couple of years ago with season 3. And we're talking about groups of episodes leading up to episode 11. I have it on the screen right now so I can look at all the episodes. Calling All Cars, I would say, ends the run. But with the Strong Silent Type, number 9, Who Done This? Number 8, Mergers and Acquisitions. Number 7, Watching Too Much Television. Everyone Hurts. Pie Oh My. The Wait. All these episodes in season 4 are so just unbelievable.
And then it ends with Whitecaps as the end of the season.
Right. I think episode 11 and episode 12 get lost in the mix a little bit, Calling Out Cars and Eloise, but we'll get into 2 of those next week. But the Strong Silent Type, episode 10, I feel like is the culmination of all of it, is the Jimmy's on top of the ice cream. It's Christopher.
Those are sprinkles for all of you that aren't from Greater Boston. That's what Jimmy's are.
Okay, sprinkles on the top of the ice cream. I just think the Christopher stuff, it brings everything together, and the intervention scene might be the funniest scene of all, and it also is coupled with one of the saddest, most just hard for me to watch scenes with Christopher crushing Cosette. It makes me laugh a little bit more because, again, I say this a lot about human characters when I talk about them on these things. I'm talking about television characters. Cosette is a stuffed animal. It is a stuffed animal with prosciutto in its mouth. I was listening to Talking Sopranos. The prop person, the tongue you see is a meat tongue that was cut. So it's kind of a funny scene too, like Christopher watching the little rascals passing out on the couch, crossing.
I know it's such a weird, wild thing that he's watching on TV. Like, why would you never peg Christopher to be watching that? But he is.
Yeah, and
nodding off to that.
Nodding off to the little rascals. When people call him Alfalfa before in the series. I mean, I think that's probably the one comparison to it that we've definitely been called. We've heard him called Alfalfa before. And I guess Tony also has his affair with Svetlana, where he gets dumped. Tony is insufferable in these episodes. He's such a douchebag. So many moments in so many parts of these episodes, Tony is just a vicious douchebag.
It's killing me because I'm such a Tony apologist, and I'm like, nah, he sucks.
No,
he sucks all the way through this.
In these couple of episodes, he really does suck.
Not only does he suck as a person, but he sucks as a leader. Like he does some shitty. Like there's the whole conversation they have about. Well, let's wait. Let's not. We'll talk about it when we get to it. Yeah, there's a lot. We should, Phil. I want a quick. I don't even know if we need a moment of silence, but shout out. We lost a member of the Sopranos cast this last week or 2.
Oh, who?
Carmela's mom, not a main character.
Oh, okay. Also,
Carmela's mom passed away in the last couple of weeks. Not a main character, but certainly serviceable in that role. It's not supposed to be a main character. She does what she's supposed to do as that person, and kind of dislikes Tony. Kind of wishes her daughter didn't marry into this life, but deals with it and accepts him as part of the family. And
absolutely. And I would say she was also a big part of Goodfellas, playing Lorraine Bracco's mother in Goodfellas. Yeah. She plays that Italian Jewish naggy mother thing really extremely well. Rest in peace to that member of the cast and crew. And You are not late. Why so curious? Partially, we might run into a problem tonight because I stupidly tried to name this something different. This whole episode I titled this video, "Is this the best intervention of all time?" Which I realize is really insensitive when I come down to it. But from a television standpoint, I mean, is this the best television intervention we've ever seen? And I mean,
well, as far as interventions go, it's the worst. It's one of the worst.
It's the worst, but is it the? But that's what I mean, Matt. Yeah. Is in its being the worst actually the best intervention of all time? But my point is, those of you who watch regularly, the way YouTube's stupid algorithm works right now, probably aren't going to be notified that we went live because it's titled something different. So you're definitely not late. Why so curious? And please like this and share it out so more people can find it. But I think the end game of this is helping more people find the videos. But for right now, it's gonna work against us, Matt. So I tried this before back in season 3, where I titled one of our episodes "Is Jackie Jr. the stupidest person in the world, or stupidest person in the entire cast?" But it worked out well then. But yeah, I mean, I do think this is. I'm trying to think of many other ones other than the entire reality series intervention. But I would say even with all of that, or all of the interventions from How I Met Your Mother, this is probably the best television intervention. And you were asking something before we started off the show about Patsy. I think Patsy initially comes from Junior's crew.
I didn't say Parisi. I said Barisi.
Oh, Barisi.
So Albert, and Larry Barisi. Because there's a scene with Albert in here. We just see them rare. They're always weird because they show up at random times. And we'll see one of the scenes. He's out to dinner with Syl. We'll see it, but it's like they're one of those people that are always in the show from season 1. I mean, it's just weird how they're related to the rest of the family. That's all.
I'm guessing that they're one of the captains, one of the other captains.
Larry's a captain. Larry Barisi's a captain, and Albert's the one we see in the episode.
And it gets more confusing with who the captains are, other than the ones that are mainly connected to Tony's direct crew, because in season 1, when we had that whole group of captains that we kind of knew, they all got taken out because they were siding with Junior a little bit or something. Right. And so.
And we had Jimmy. Jimmy was a captain. He's gone. Well, he obviously died early on season 1.
I feel like.
And then Carlo kind of comes out of nowhere, to take over, even though he's like old. So. And
if you think about it, really, Carlo is. If you say that Tony doesn't die at the end of all of the Sopranos, then Carlo is responsible for sending Tony to jail. Or testifying against him. Carlos shows up out of nowhere and then ends up by the end, kind of set up to rat on Tony to be the biggest informer because his idiot kid gets busted on a drug charge. That's one of those small things that gets missed in the final episode.
His hands are dirty too. Although I guess Syl's the other one that was with him when they kill Fat Dom, but. Yeah. All right. Let's get going here because this is going to be a long night already.
Yeah.
So.
Let's get into this. So our first episode tonight, if you haven't watched one of these with us before, basically what we do is we watch the episode live and we serve it as a commentary track. You don't have to watch the episode with us. We'll try to give as much context to what's going on in the episode as we possibly can. And yeah, so we're going to watch episode 10 and episode 11 tonight and go right into them. So get it all queued up. And the way this is going to work, I'm going to have to do this a little differently. I have to go to restart. Now we're going to do 3, 2, 1, then go. So cue it up to wherever you're at. And Matt and I, basically the only reason Matt and I do this, we don't do it for a ton of views. We don't do it for, we do it for the interactions fun as well. But we do it just for this moment to see if we can sync up these episodes together. It's one of our simple joys in life. Don't hate on us. We're silly. Okay. Here we go, everybody. The strong silent type. 3, 2, 1, go. That's a tough load. That's a tough load for me.
I'm gonna pause it. I'll catch up. Oh yeah, you're way behind. I'm already through the tunnel, Phil.
Yeah, no. I'm coming out the tunnel right now. I just came out of the tunnel. So this is a big Christopher episode as well. I love when Christopher, I mean, we'll get to it when we get to the intervention scene, but I like when Christopher goes on the offensive in this scene. When he goes straight attack mode. And in my memory of watching back on this, Matt, it was in Tony's house where the intervention occurred, but it's obviously clearly in Christopher's house.
Yeah. Well, house is being generous.
Yeah, apartment. It's in his apartment. So get over here.
Yeah, a lot of, and let's be sure to touch upon it as it happens. Questionable behavior by Tony.
Yeah. Oh, all the way through. Even straight up, everything he does with Svetlana is very questionable in the sense of coming there, knowing Junior's there. Not that Junior wouldn't lie for him, but making Junior feel uncomfortable. I'm not going to sit on that couch anymore, now that I know you did that. But also his Gumar's cousin. Are they cousins, or is that what they are? Or are they sisters?
Yes.
There's something. I think the cousin. So yeah, Christopher watching the Little Rascals. Little Rascals, we were too, I feel like we were a little too old, a little too young for the Little Rascals in the sense of like shows we watched when we were a kid. I didn't really watch
it. It would
them.
have to be something that your parents made you watch. Like Christopher's too young to watch Little Rascals. You know,
and in my
father would.
But like even at least in my memory, Nick at Night didn't have the Little Rascals.
Right.
I watched Mr. Ed and Dennis the Menace.
Oh, Mr. Ed, Dennis the Menace all day. My Three Sons.
Patty Duke show.
Donna Reed show.
Donna Reed show. Yeah, all that stuff was on loop at Nick at Night. Yeah. If it wasn't on Nick at Night, I didn't watch it in the sense of stuff like that, except for the Honeymooners and Lucy.
And Lassie. You probably saw Lassie.
I saw Lassie, yeah. I absolutely saw Lassie. A lot of Lassie. I mean, very apropos of what's about to happen to talk about Lassie, Matt. That's a little sad. But why so curious? You're never too late. It's always...
So I have no idea if we're synced up because I've been trying to catch up, but there's nothing going on except Christopher nodding off.
The doorbell just rang. Carmela's looking at her keen new haircut.
Yeah.
Okay.
You must like that. You like that haircut or
no? But that's beside the point. But if she asked me, I'd say yes. I wouldn't say to her, mistake number one. Let's calculate Tony's screen time versus mistakes that he makes. But first of all, Carmela's really pissed to see Benny Fazio, criminal mastermind, right there.
And I mean, I don't want to sit here and be a psychologist or psychiatrist on the behalf of women, but like that's a known thing that people oftentimes change their hair when they're just. She doesn't know what happened to Fiore. He disappeared and didn't come back, and she's like freaked out about it, and like that's like a way of her making a change or exerting power over her own life. Because Tony said, "I thought we were going to talk about it."
Right. I'm saying that's mistake number one for Tony, and he's been on the screen for a few seconds. He says, "I thought you talked to me about changing your hair."
Yeah. Like, what sort of fucked up thing is that?
Yeah. Shut up, Tony. And he's like,
I'm weird. I like a touch of a Karen cut too. It's weird.
I don't want to hear about it. I don't want to hear about it. That's basically his whole vibe right there. So this is fucking horrifying. Obviously, anyone that has a pet can relate to this. But just in general, this is a horrifying scene. But it's also hilarious. It's a hilarious scene. Christopher's reaction has some of the most classic Christopher's. I didn't crush it. It just was cold, and it's just oh man, just classic junkie television right there.
Christopher, she's not breathing. Her neck feels broken. Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Rosie just came up and stood next to me as I'm watching this film. So
Lotus behind there knows how her head's down. She refuses to watch this. She's in protest. Drea
I didn't kill her. I must have sat.
I'm mad. I was sad on her. It's a really fucked up line, but it's strangely hilarious.
And then. What did I say about her being on the furniture? Turns it on her.
Yep. I mean, that's the soprano in him right there.
I'll get you another dog. That's
Oh
the
my
line.
gosh. That's the worst. Do you No, I mean she was already there, but it's if anything pushed her a step further towards the FBI, it was that right there.
Yeah.
In the sense to like I mean she's probably going there anyway.
Well, you hear her bitch about it after she gets beat up.
Yeah, she breaks down on it. And Tony keeps calling and asking questions about Ralph, which is pretty hilarious.
Shady.
Again, super shady, keeps bringing it up.
In front of Christopher. Christopher's the only, like, Christopher's going to be like, dude, what are you doing?
And look how fucked up Christopher looks in this scene, like drugged out, messed up. It's insane. Like, obviously they're not watching that. I think Tony kind of notices it, but because he talks about it in therapy later before another breakdown, so I think he's picking up on it, obviously, but... A little side thing that happens in this scene that I absolutely love, that's just a classic Pauly moment. When Tony runs out crying, he goes, "That's a forfeit. I'm getting the money from the game."
I know.
What are you doing? That's a forfeit. That's our money.
That's just so classic Pauly. They were asking this in the Talking Sopranos episode, and I think it's a good question, Matt. Why do you think Tony wants to burn the photo? Is it evidence-wise? Does it remind him too much of the horse? Emotional? Does it bring too much evidence to he be the one that killed Ralph? Why does he want
I think it's all those things. I think like part of it is he doesn't want everyone to know that the horse meant that much to him. How much do you have to love a horse that's not even fucking yours to go get a painting made of you and the horse and spend whatever he spent $6,000 in cash?
I love how Melfi kind of calls him out on it later in the episode. It was a freaking horse, though. And when he's basically just lying in therapy and...
So here's Albert Baris.
Oh, Baris, yep.
Fucking Bermuda Triangle. What is kidding? Probably down in the bunker. I tell you, if I didn't know better.
Yeah, Albert's one of those guys that comes on, you're right, every once in a while he'll show up.
But it's the whole show. And Larry, it's Larry's birthday. Oh no, maybe it's not. Now I'm thinking of the other guy who gets whacked, and I'm forgetting his name.
Larry Boy, right?
Yeah, but then there's another one too. I'm thinking of the one who gets, whose birthday it is that he tells the Ginny Sack joke at.
Okay, in my mind, I'm confusing Larry and Carlo, like in the way they look.
They don't look anything alike. Quickly Google Larry Baris, Barese, and you'll see who Larry is. He's related to Albert. Him and Albert are like brothers, or there must be cousins, or like father and son, or nephew.
Exactly my point. If Tony did do this,
Larry Baris. Oh, okay, yeah. Yep.
that guy be the first
That guy.
guy in line to pull his fucking plug.
Tony Soprano.
This guy here, Albert Baris, is the one that, just to reiterate that he's been around the whole time. This kid here is the one that Richie was trying to flip way back in season 2.
Yeah.
He couldn't seal the deal.
He just keeps repeating himself over and over again.
Yeah.
And then Larry Boy is the one that's talks shit during that animal vendetta and all of his whole situation. And why does Tony go here? Just to give money so he can stop worrying about Ralph? Because that's what Tony does. He gives money to stop worrying about people. So
yeah, I mean, listen, he's Ralph's ex-wife is not missing Ralph at all.
No, and they were talking about this on again talking on Sopranos. I have to give her credit for a small role. She does a really excellent job depicting what it must have been like to be married to Ralph.
Yeah. Was her hair already different?
Oh yeah, it's already longer. How long has it been since Furio came to... See, we talked about this before, Matt. This is one of those moments where this brings into question how much time is on The Sopranos in between each moment. And this seems like now it's maybe been a month or so since...
She might have just not styled it as much, and maybe the back of it looks the same and she blew it out or something.
Possibly, yeah. It could be Could be a.
Her heart is also broken right now because he got nothing.
He didn't get a gift for her at all. He gets AJ, the little hunchback, good luck charm guy, and he gets Meadow, a book of poetry or something like that.
Some olive oil.
That's what he gives her, the olive oil later, right?
Yeah, and then there's wine that gets passed around at some point that comes from his father's or his uncle's.
But he specifically didn't get her anything because he was worried. He's worried about doing that, like worried about how it would look.
Yeah,
to,
and listen, hold on, Tony being an asshole, right here.
Oh, this is the worst. This is the worst when he's talking about his father being sick, and then he turns this around, and Furio, he's like, just buck up on it, and then we hard cut. This is one of those Soprano amazing hard cuts right there to that next scene, to him crying about a horse saying he's the sad clown when he's never like that. And she turns around. She goes, "No, I've heard stories from Carmela. Heard you describe, you break things, you throw shit across the room. You have a temper. You have no empathy for people." And he's just, it was a fucking horse. And he's...
Hold on, and it was a fucking horse. Hold on. First of all, Phil, if anyone here would actually, like, understand, it's me. Like, no one loves animals as much as I do, but, like...
Yeah, you and I.
But it's not his fucking... It's not even his fucking horse. That would be like me crying about your, like, the loss, like someone else's pet is to me. Like, I would understand it, but I wouldn't be like, woe is me, it's my pet. And he only knew the horse for like a few months.
Matt, I'm going to take you a step further. I'm going to say it's not even just like that. You have to add the extra added appendage that Tony murders people or orders people's death. He's somebody that has no problem hearing that Furio's dad died, had no problem dealing with other people knowing that they have tragedy in their life, and he makes it all about himself. It would be the equivalent of,
as he continues to do, he does it throughout this episode. During the intervention, he does the same thing.
Yep.
Let's get back to Pyomai. It's sad that you've lost something that you love. That being said,
having said that, I think another thing that Pyomai and the ducks and everyone else means to Tony is.
Is it different?
They were ducks. But the thing about the ducks were it just took him out of the rest of his life for a while. So I think part of the mourning is like that tranquility, the lack of stress, the like him sitting alone in the stable with that horse and the goat was like all the rest was gone, and that was Tony's like little solitude. So
I think there's something to be said about the fact that he's not really affected by all the horrible stuff that he does, and he compartmentalizes and he sets up all these barriers, and he's real rough and just doesn't give a crap about people or emotions or something. But something happens to him intrinsically inside him when he's around animals that, like you were saying, sort of centers him, makes him feel comfortable and warm.
And he doesn't have, he can get rid of all of his fronts. Like, if anything, that would disappear and he can just exist. And not have to.
Allison, yeah, I love it too. I would say she doesn't do it enough in therapy sessions when he's bullshitting and lying, but she calls him out totally here. She's not dealing with any of this crap right here, Melfi.
And I want to go back quickly to the Alba Baris thing because I'll wait till the scene's over.
Oh no, go for it.
I mean, part of it is they're questioning right there. What that conversation we were talking about over it was like, hey, we're going to, I think Tony clipped him over something that wasn't a clippable offense. Does that mean any of us could go at any point? So they're questioning him for that. And also what's coming up, and everyone's realizing now, not only are they questioning Tony over that and his judgment over that, this is also the guy that within the last few episodes has said Christopher is going to be the future of the family, and Christopher is legitimately a drug addict that could not possibly.
And he talks about that in that scene as well. I don't know how much everyone besides Syl know that, but I guess if Syl knows it, everybody knows it. Hey, Eric Graham in the live chat. Thank you for joining us tonight to talk about this Soprano episode. Good to have you in the live Mother Grabbing chat. So this is when Adriana just breaks down and loses it, and they get into the fact that they've been sending them sending them rehab stuff, Hazleton stuff. Do you? This is a weird question because I feel like we've talked about this before, but I don't know exactly if we have. Do you feel like the whole FBI thing in general on the show was done well? Oh, what was that?
Do I think the FBI thing was done well?
I know you're not a fan of Skip.
Well, I don't think was Skip FBI or was Skip, he was FBI. This line here about Carl Malden.
Yeah, this is great, and
Carl Malden's fucking nose it's one of the best lines.
And it's an interesting moment where we like we say we don't often notice the time period that The Sopranos is at, and this is right when TVs with high definition weren't as common. They were really expensive. Right.
My parents first they had a TV early on, like an early plasma, and it was like $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 for a 50-inch when they came out. And now that same TV is $200. So that was like a high end.
Yeah, I remember. Barry, Craig's ex Samantha got him like this tiny flat screen for his bedroom, and it was like a couple $100. It was like $250 for this, like a computer sized monitor.
Michael Scott's in The Office that he has in the scene in the condo where it's like the size of like a laptop screen.
Yeah, I might be making up how much, but I remember it being some ridiculous amount, and it was like so beautiful. It was the first flat screen I saw. Yeah. And it was like, oh my goodness, look at that. You'd go into Craig's room, it would be like heaven. You'd be like, oh my goodness, the television. So, Christopher going so far as to just going down the street yelling. I feel like we missed another scene where his regular hookup wasn't able to help him that sent him on this quest. Like it seems
right. Like why would someone like in this thing of ours with connections suddenly be out like in an area where they're going to get fucking jumped in their car?
Did his dealer turn to him and go, Christopher, you're doing too much. Well, I'm cutting you off for a while. I feel like it could have been interesting if we had a scene like that showed him going to the point where he'd have to go out to the street and do that. Because again, a guy, this thing of ours, I feel like he'd have a million connections around the city.
Yeah, or he'd be going to a drug deal that knew who the fuck he was, that wouldn't just rob him because you know who I'm connected to, you know who I'm with.
Exactly. All I'm saying is, if you're an addict with money to be able to pay for it, that's a big stretch that quick.
What is the deal with this? Why did Carmela leave that in there?
Because she's distracted. And her hair looks different there, too. Her hair looks...
No, now we're back to the haircut.
I feel like that's a filming issue. I feel like we've ran into a filming mistake. Because her hair looks completely different. And they're usually so good about that. It looks completely different. Maybe I don't know enough about hair and styling it, but it looks 10 times short. Not 10 times shorter. It looks a lot shorter, right, Matt? I'm not...
Yeah, this looks like the first haircut, like the one that Tony judged her on.
Yep. And I'm going to go to the live chat and Dworkin's comment in a second here, but I think it's hilarious here how no one wants to talk about the horse but Tony. He's like, no, Huel, listen, my horse.
Yeah.
Dev says, like, Matt Servento as FBI, it's because I love you. Your pretty face is going to hell. I think the FBI on this show...
the later shit where they're like working with Tony,
it gets a little
kind of garbage. That part towards the end, but I mean, well, you got to remember in real time, 9/11's happening. Like it happened during the show, so it's like.
But I would say that the FBI borders on parody, not as bad as like the ATF in Sons of Anarchy or something. But on this show, they do border as they're never really going to. They don't. It's the Adriana thing is the biggest threat that they seem to them, and it's more of a personal threat, not necessarily a threat to this thing of ours. Maybe it would have gotten to that eventually, and that's when the series ends, whether Tony dies or goes to court. That's part of the thing with it. They were saying this in the Talking Sopranos too. This moment right here, this whole section is as bad as Christopher. Like is Christopher's rock bottom. This is as scummy as he gets right here.
Yeah, he and
steals her money.
Like stealing her money. Like he just got mugged. They just stole his car. He's fucked. He also must know, like Tony knows all this, and he's completely fucked. And he has to show up beat up. Classy Pete's like this.
Why did he steal the cash? Because that's the mafia thing. Whenever you see one of the characters, they beat the crap out of someone and then they just steal their money. But he stole to go fix. He's going took her money. He's gonna go out and get more shit because he got robbed.
And so it's a power thing. A whole fuck you. I just kicked your ass and I'm taking your money.
And speaking of, Adriana goes to Carmela, knowing what's about to happen here. This is an interesting move by Adriana. In the sense of knowing because she can't think that this is going to lead to an intervention into a healthy situation with Casey Jones from the Ninja Turtles showing up.
She also knows, though, that Tony's the one person that can actually fix this.
Yeah, crushing a dog because you're loopy it's pretty rock bottom. Yeah, exactly. Crushing a dog because you're loopy, slapping the shit out of your fiance 2 weeks.
Getting your shit stolen and potentially getting murdered. Like, he ran his mouth. What are you going to do with that? Shove it up your mother's twat? Like, he easily could have been shot for that.
Yep, and he ditched Polly when he was going to get a flat screen TV, and he needs to be in rehab. Again, this is Tony's best moment is right here in the 2 episodes in the sense of not being an idiot. He's like, do I need to spell this out? But he doesn't. Again, they talk about this in Talking Sopranos. I want to take the stuff I'm stealing. He does eventually do what Junior says. Junior basically gives Tony the advice that he eventually takes at the end of the series.
Or a couple years from now, yeah.
A couple of years from now. The exact advice he takes.
Yep.
One point of note that they talk about in the Talking Sopranos, the designers of the Sopranos, like the set designers, were having trouble designing Polly Walnut's living place. They just couldn't get a concept of where Polly would live, and they decided
that is a fair fucking thing to have to figure out.
And they said fuck it, and they went and looked at Tony Sirico's house and apartment, and they designed the place to look exactly like Tony Sirico.
Perfect.
But according to the Talking Sopranos, that's a little piece of inside information there.
Well, it's hard. The only other Junior would be the only comp, but Polly's never been at the level that Junior was.
Yeah.
The only comp as far as a single guy.
And quirky, but what is Carmela doing? Is she showing up because she's pissed off she didn't get a present? And why is she bringing AJ? AJ's not in.
Well, no, she has to keep bringing AJ because it's
Yeah, they say this in talk. He's a beard, but essentially, isn't AJ not stupid enough to kind of pick apart what's going on here? I mean, essentially, I guess he doesn't.
No, because it's not 2 adults. It's your mom. You don't think your mom's doing it.
Yeah, I guess that's fair. But I mean, Meadow puts it together with less information. I guess this is one of those.
Meadow's an adult though. When you're a kid and Phil, you got to remember back to the time when the shit your parents did was just normal because your parents were doing it. Later on is when you go, well, that was fucked up. I am going to just drop out for a second from my. I'm going to mute myself for a second. I'll be right back.
Yep. Matt needs to run and take care of a matter. Yeah, Allison, you're right. Mom is mom. So Carmela and Furio are having their discussion right now where they're basically direct flirting with each other without direct flirting with each other. Carmela's finding out that he broke up with his girlfriend that she set him up with, which pleases her. And he basically says, I broke up with her because she's not you. Which is a very happy situation. Dwarfburger says, Meadow is older and way smarter in the show. Yeah, for some reason, whether it's accurate or not, they made a choice to make AJ not the brightest star on the tree. So I guess he doesn't have that awareness that they've set up that Meadow has, that she can kind of play 3D chess a little bit better than Stratego. What was that game that they played in Star Trek The Next Generation where Data played the weird dude and then he couldn't beat him, and
You're not actually asking me, right? I'm assuming you're asking someone.
I'm asking Devin because he might actually know what I'm talking about, but not the whole. It was called something like Stratego. It was like Super Chess or something. And Data couldn't beat the guy, but then he designed a strategy to essentially stalemate him forever and drive him nuts. And that's how he essentially won the game.
Here we go.
It doesn't happen until the next scene, but yeah. And
but just Tony's so awkward with her too.
He's immediately starts stalking and preying her here in this scene. Once he sees her creating a website, he's like,
there's no bigger turn on from Tony than a self-sufficient woman who can do all of her own shit. That is his
exact. Someone he can corrupt that wouldn't need him, and he is. Furio has sneaky one of Furio's best lines in this scene when Junior doesn't have cable. He says, "No cable" in the background. It's the only time this season that Furio is old Furio. Furio changed between season 3 and season 4. He straight up did. They completely changed his character for good or for bad. We can talk about. But we finally see old Furio here for a second where he goes, "I drink the Bloomberg," and he goes in. I love the Russian thing. Not that it's a Russian thing, but it's where the vodka needs to be ice cold. So she needs ice in her homemade red wine. Yeah, it was Strategos or something like it was some shit like that. And
she and Phil, you and I know like Russians. She does a Russian very well.
Yes, 100%.
The way she carries herself throughout the whole thing, throughout the "fuck you, Tony," throughout the I came from the communist Soviet Union.
Much better than all of the rest that have been on the show, especially Irina and the other guy. The guy in Pine Barrens does those dudes do a good job, but I think I think they're genuine. But she's not, and she just does a really excellent job, and it feels more genuine, even when
there's the whole nothing in America could get me down because you don't know what the fuck I've been through.
Yeah, and her having this sort of vibe. I remember having a similar conversation with I was gonna say cousin, but it was actually his aunt with one of our friend Il's aunts.
I don't think of it right away.
And the way she dismissed when the most American thing in the world, which is Janice, after she had been in therapy and thought
she's great
to apologize to, and she goes, "Get out! You bored me."
Yeah, you bore me, woman.
Yeah, who the fuck are you?
And I'll have to add the other thing is Dev said the one-legged Russian woman was the best, and that was all early. I think it's a little CG, but it's all practical. That was all film. It surprised me when I found out she actually did not was not missing a leg. I'm sorry, I missed my favorite line of the episode. Oh no, it's right there. Is it? Smells like feet, or it tastes like other people's?
No,
feet?
It must be right here. Oh no, it was.
No, I think I missed it. Either I don't care. Either way, it's great. Junior's like it tastes like other people's feet. So Junior, he already killed. Spoiler alert for things that we don't talk about. He already killed one Maltasante. He wants the other Maltasante. So is this line? I'm sorry to talk about it, Matt. Is that line right there in the way Junior reacts and the way they wrote that? Why they kind of went back? You just
said your favorite line. You missed it. You just said reminds me of people's feet.
Okay, well, I missed it.
Well, no. What was the question?
Do you think David Chase went back to this scene and made this the reason why Junior killed Dickie Maltasante? Because Junior was so quick to say, you just got to kill a junkie quick?
No, I don't. No, because I don't believe. No, I don't even believe.
That's real. That's not canon.
That's not real.
That's not canon. That a thing. Okay. It's not canon. Still gonna make you watch it.
And if he did go back to that, fuck him, because that's not a justifiable reason for it.
That's what I wanted. Okay, so here we.
I love her calling her out. You're a 15-year-old.
Yeah, and you haven't even slept with him yet. And this is where we get a little bit more information about Rosalie. That she was fucking somebody while Jackie Senior was the Don, and only stopped when he got sick.
Well, I think what she's calling her out for is dude, why are you bringing AJ with you? That's the last thing you need.
And why are you doing this to Furio? If you like him, then you know what's going to happen to him.
You're not fucking him?
Yeah, right there. You're not fucking him?
This isn't really real.
It's not real. Yeah, it's I love.
What's crazy is it's such a she's just craving the most basic stuff. He looks at me like I'm beautiful. We communicate, and they barely communicate. They don't even talk that much. They're these superficial conversations. But it just shows you what a shitty, unfulfilling husband Tony is.
And yeah, or I think this scene's supposed to show you that. So is Jackie, though. They all are.
Dwarfburger, you're 100% correct. From the beginning, he was always like, that nephew of yours, that nephew of yours, that nephew of yours, for all the stuff that happened with, what was his friend, Brendan Filoni, the one that got killed, like, all of that. He was constantly disrespecting Junior.
But
this guy is amazing.
Yeah, he's a great actor. I'm blanking on the actor's name, but I originally saw him in the movie Some Kind of Wonderful, I believe it is, with Eric Stoltz. And
Paulie's such a dick to him for no reason.
Leah Thompson,
from a two-time loser.
Two-time loser. And he was also most famously Casey Jones in the first Ninja Turtles movie. He's a good actor. I like him. He has a lot of charm, and he brings a lot to this role. Even though we've never met him, you get the vibe that guys here know him with the way Paulie acts towards him, even the way that.
And it leads to one of my favorite lines in the entire series, and it's again lost. It's lost because it's the opening line to the intervention. It goes, "Hi, Christopher. I know you don't know me. Yeah."
Yeah,
you're that guy that stole those pork loins from Stu Leonard's, but like the way you stole those pork loins, and the guy's like, but we're not here to talk about that right now.
We're not here to talk about that right now. So this is the foreplay for the hilarious scene. I'm gonna shut up when we get to it and just turn up the volume. Let's get into a couple of Dwarfburger's stuff. Peak performance was this episode. It was Strategos and something like that. Never in love with the Furio Carmella line. Me neither, really. I feel like they were pulling at straws to give Carmella this kind of storyline. They tried it with the priest early on. It didn't work. They tried it with the Fix-It guy. That didn't work with Davey.
They do it with the other one, but that's later because that's after Whitecaps.
Yeah, with Davey Scatino. Yeah, at post Whitecaps, I'm not talking about that stuff, but I'm saying I think they were trying for something like this for a while, and I think they were also looking for something different to do with Furio. She is the worst. She's the freaking worst. She's the worst of all Tony's Gumars. Great performance. I like this actress. I liked her in Head of the Class.
Don't worry, Phil. She gets her comeuppance like all of Tony's girls do.
But she's like the most vapid of all of Tony's girls. She's so.
No, Arena is.
Oh, it's close. It's Arena's more innocent-minded. This girl is just like so narcissistic. She just doesn't care. Do you hear how she's talking about Ralphie's kid? Oh, he was cute. Nice. I don't know. Okay, they were talking about this in the Talking Sopranos, and this is true. All of this, let's not forget. All of this shit is all Paulie's fault for being a rat.
Yep.
And he deserves to get butts right in his gabagool, whatever.
Freeland Avenue they bring up. That's still the shit he stole from Junior. It's what Freeland Avenue is.
Yep, 100%. That's what makes Carmella a bad person, just for along for the ride. It's the reason that what makes Carmella a bad person isn't just being along for the ride. It's the same thing that Tony does. They're similar. They both want to do the bad things and then kind of complain about it and kind of wax poetic about how they could be better people. And if it isn't for this or it isn't that, they don't sort of accept what they are in this thing. Especially Carmella needs to go to the priest and feel good and cleanse herself.
And she knows what she signed up for. That's what's bullshit.
Matt, you often talk about one of your favorite scenes. Someone finally says to her what they needs to say to her. Is it the Jewish therapist, or is it?
He is. If you want to talk about like a scene, a character with one scene, it's like him. He is so good.
He kills it, and he breaks it down to her what the truth, and she doesn't want to hear it.
And then I won't take your money. It's blood money. Won't even take it at the end.
And she does not want to actually hear the truth. She wants someone to absolve her be like, it's okay. You can take the money.
Because she's used to the Catholic sense of you can apologize your way out of anything.
Yeah. So Tony, being the opportunistic douchemonger he is, takes it off. So this
your boy Albert Parisi.
Yeah, Albert Parisi. Yeah, and this shows this is all the captains essentially, right?
Nah, Vito's not a captain.
He is very soon.
Yeah.
Right? He becomes the next captain of that crew.
Oh, and there is Carlo. Okay.
It must be the captains. He must already be the heir apparent for Ralphie's position. He must know that's who's
this
okay.
line.
I'm shutting up here.
No.
Intervention time, people.
Yeah, you're the guy who broke into Stu Leonard's that time. You stole all those toys.
It's one of the best lines.
Hey, John Haymaker, you're right. Nothing back. That's what was the best scenes.
Christ, you fucking kidding me?
Speaking of the best scenes, here we go.
Oh, fuck this shit. You've been told once. Now sit down.
This might be Paulie's best shit.
I don't write nothing down.
You idiot. Christopher, this is the second best intervention on television history next to the Dylan McKay one, of course, which slightly edges this one out.
Christopher, this won't be
Oh, you people want me sick.
I want you to know that we're here today because we care about you.
I don't know why Furio or Benny are there.
Benny's his buddy. Benny Fazio's a criminal master.
No, you're right.
Benny more than Furio. Like, is Furio going to talk? If so, we totally missed Furio. He does beat the shit out of Christopher later.
My only dream is that we have a happy life together. The last few months, things have got very bad with us because of you.
And why is this guy such an asshole to make her specifically say the thing about he can't act as a man?
Well, because that's how you're supposed to do it.
I love Polly's reaction.
When we first started
Right, well, they both get the
we made
look.
love all the time.
It is that fucking Zip Furio.
John Haymaker.
You can no longer function as a man.
Oh, Polly, that
No.
look.
When I came home to learn that you had killed our dog, that was the final straw.
Oh. You killed the dog. What'd you do that for?
So you could almost say that Christopher is dead to him right here.
Oh, Jesus Christ. I fell asleep. She got suffocated or something. Are you done, Adriana?
Just Tony. Tony's whole disposition changes here. He doesn't stop looking at that. He interrupts everybody.
You little prick.
And that's what he eventually does.
Sylvia? When I came in,
This is great.
one morning, there you were.
Disgusting.
Your hair was in the toilet water. Disgusting. I told you I had to.
Disgusting.
Chrissy, great. I can't even defend myself.
I said my piece, Chrissy.
Look, you can't change anything.
There's so many classic lines from this
I don't
one
know why
scene.
Tony opens his mouth there, though.
Because he's obsessed with losing his horse at this point.
That's because I know what it's like to lose a pet.
Right there. He can't stop talking about it. And everyone looking around like, okay, he killed Ralph again. Like, Tony can't stop making a mistake. Oh, everyone was high at the...
No, he was.
No, I
That's
know,
actually
I
a
know.
great scene. when
It's
he's running
he's
his
hilarious.
mouth.
It's Christopher at his best.
Jesus Christ.
Oh, come on. Like, you give a shit about that, Tony. I love how you can just hear Tony's breathing through this whole scene.
So I'll keep this short and sweet.
Okay, Matt.
You're weak.
You're weak.
You're out of control. And you become
Terence
embarrassed to
Winter
yourself and everybody else.
That's it.
You,
That's it. Hey, Mohammed. Great to have toast to you, my brother.
take his medicine.
Let him take his medicine.
So many classic lines in this episode, Matt.
I thought we'd be honest here.
I want you to note that Benny gets his ass kicked in the end of this. though.
Yeah, he's the only one that Christopher gets a punch in.
Self-control. How about you, Sil? Fucking every slut you got working in the place and you got a wife and kids at home? Guys, whoa. Well, you, Paulie. Yeah, remember last winter in the woods with the Russian guy? I'm fucking warning you. There he goes, Mr. Type A personality.
Oh.
We are here to talk about you killing yourself with drugs, not my fucking personality. That's right. I'm gonna kill myself? The way you fucking are, you're gonna have a heart attack by the time you're 50. He's talking to the boss here.
Good, maybe someone will smack some goddamn sense into him.
Right, my own mother. Fuck you, you fucking whore.
Ooh. Oh, and that's enough. And here, I love how Silvio knocks down the intervention.
No reason Sylvia had to knock down
He
him
just
just for
pushes
stealing
him.
those pork loins from Stu Leonard's.
He just pushed him down. Yeah, and then Benny Fazio, criminal mastermind, gets a punch. And then they said, when they say he slipped on, or I forget what they say.
Poor Benny, like he's like Jesse Pinkman, where poor Jesse just gets his ass beat so many times in that show. So many times in that show, he gets his fucking ass kicked. Benny gets beat up. He gets the shit kicked out of him by
Artie. By Artie.
But then he's in the car with Phil Leotardo one time, and Phil opens the door, and goes, "Hey, how you doing?" And they almost kill him. Phil almost kills him at some point.
So it's Dwarf said best scene in The Sopranos right here. It's definitely one of them. It's up there. It might be my favorite scene in all of The Sopranos. It has
This
all.
one here?
No, the intervention scene. It has so many it has all the actors basically in one scene together that you don't get all together and in one moment. And I think it's such a well put together, interesting dynamic, interesting take on the intervention in a comedic sense, but also
and every line in it is well thought out.
Yep,
like,
and
that's exactly what Paulie would say. It's exactly what Sil would have said.
And Christopher's fire back is roasting them all is straight fire too. So we got Muhammad in the live chat. Great to see Muhammad. Great to see John Haymaker. Burger says Tony knew he made a mistake with Christopher and he can't accept it and admit it. And I think it's all starting to come to grips right here in this scene.
Also, right. And everyone now knows like this is the guy that Tony was putting in charge.
Yeah. No, and again, it eventually turns over to Bobby, I think. Becomes his next in line. When sound concentrates on Tony's breathing, you know trouble's brewing. Great direction. It's like the Jason breathing in Friday the 13th. Vinny Dalpino, absolutely. I think Benny Fazio gets his ass kicked because everyone knows he was in Doogie Howser.
Yeah.
It's 100% Doogie Howser that's going on. Benny is always getting whooped. We got the Inglewood Rose in the live chat. Benny clobbered Artie after Tony died. You know, Inglewood, you know the first things. When we do finish the series, because we're actually going pretty good now in a year and a half when we finish the series.
Slow down. Something will happen, but okay.
I want to do what would happen right after Tony died. I think the first thing that happened day one, while his family was still in the hospital, while he was fighting for life, Benny would go and kill Artie. It wouldn't be 24 hours from Tony being rested that would happen. We got Sonic, your boy, in the live chat. Ping pow, zoom to the moon. Sonic, my boy, great to see you. But yeah, Inglewood, I go a step further. He murders him as Tony is about to. Okay,
but Phil gives him the worst ass kicking he gets in his whole life.
I did.
He's in the hospital really bad.
No,
they stop him with the car and
totally does when he's looking for that animal.
I think he's looking for Tony. Actually,
no, he's looking for the animal Blendetta, I believe. And going back, looking at this whole scene in retrospect, understanding what eventually happens. Tony thinks he's seducing her, but she's seducing him here. She's using him and seducing him just for fun. And immediately doesn't want the complication of it and just wanted the moment.
How about those meds?
Don't start with me on those meds.
But yeah, she leads I feel watching this scene, she seduces him more than he seduces her. He thinks he's clumsily doing his thing, but she's basically made all the decisions in the scene.
She's like that ex of mine, Phil, A.N., that was always...
Yes, always in control of the situation.
Yeah.
Yes, at any time I ever danced with A.N., it was never my choice. It just happened. It would be in the band. I'd get randomly dragged into the band room and be told what to do.
Yeah, it's such a cocky thing for him. Oh, here you are with that. She's like, I'm not doing anything I do for you to feel good about yourself.
Dev forgot she was in Doogie. Yep, he was the Doogie's tough buddy, tough friend.
Yeah, what was his name? Oh, Vinny. Vinny Dalpino,
Vinny
right?
Dalpino, yep. I haven't seen Bookie yet, but I was actually, funny you say that because I'm rewatching The Wire right now. I've seen it advertised there, so maybe I will check it out. I was a bookie, so I might be interested in that. Welcome to Dwarf Burger, home of the Dwarf Burger. May I take your order, please? I'm a dwarf. You're a dwarf. We're all dwarf, dude. Sorry. I haven't seen the new one yet. We've got the Gotti in the live chat. Great to see Gotti, producer of the Issues program, Mr. Gotti, and original co-host. The intervention is a total gift to the fans. We deserved a good free-for-all. We did, and we don't get too many of them.
Let's talk about them crossing lines here. Like, in theory, no one should actually hit Christopher. Like, he's a made guy. There's no, like, he couldn't push back on that. But, as Tony said, he should have also been killed.
Is that why he kicked Benny's ass? Because Benny couldn't actually give him a fight?
Maybe. Ooh, I don't know. Probably not, but that would make sense.
Like Benny wasn't technically allowed to swing on him, but all the other made guys could because he was he had sort of put that out there. Okay, so I do want to point out couple of things about the authenticity of that scene. The vodka in the freezer. I learned vodka in the freezer from hanging out with Russian folks. The breathing out before you take the shot. I never saw that before. I don't remember that, but Michael Imperioli was saying he researched that was something about not getting hangovers. But for me, the whole thing
sounds like some Russian superstition.
It does, right there, but for me, the only thing is you always eat. You take shots, then you eat. You take shots, then you eat, and you're always chasing every shot with a meal, essentially. So that kind of fights the hangover.
Lamb and onions?
Yeah, or the corn and stuff like that. The bookie is really good. It's live stream worthy. It's sponge worthy.
And how pissed off talk about pissing people off, must Patsy be? That they're making Patsy stay a half mile down now.
That's a shit job. I do want to point out one thing, and Michael Imperioli mentioned this in the Talking Sopranos episode, about, as far as I know, at least friends that I've known that have gone to rehabs, usually caffeine's okay, and chocolate and stuff like that, and nicotine are usually well accepted. They take away his chocolate bars. I'm not sure if that's a thing, taking away the chocolate bars, but
I don't know either.
But Michael Imperioli called that into question when they were watching this episode back, and said, "I asked about that. I'm not sure. Like I think they encourage coffee and caffeine stuff, but maybe it's this specific place."
All set?
The bookie is sponge-worthy. I will try to check that out. I mean, I think Patsy probably likes this job. He likes the fact that he gets one up over on Christopher, that he gets to be the one to pull the trigger if Christopher messes up.
Yeah, but he has a family and shit. He doesn't need to be out here staked out.
You're making money. I'm assuming when you're on a job like that, you get kicked up a little higher kick because you're on the job.
Dude, that's still a shit job. That's the bottom of it. He could be sitting on the construction site breaking balls with his friends.
Fair. You're staying at a hotel. You can drop off the room service.
I'm sure it's a shady motel.
Can you send those receipts to Sil? Like, does Sil take care of those receipts? I'm just wondering of the orchestration of all this.
Who does the HR? Who's the person that reimburses?
It's got to be Sil, right? You send your receipts to him.
Yeah, it's not Georgie, that's for sure.
No, absolutely not. He'll got a phone off his freaking head. So right here, she basically dumps him. He's like, "What? You didn't like it?" And she's like, "No, I liked it, but I'm wanting you done here. Thank you, Tony Soprano. My boyfriend's been gone for a while. I needed a little something."
She definitely knows what just happened.
Yeah.
I didn't expect you so soon.
No, and that this is the fly in the ointment of the situation, because if this didn't happen, it never would have gotten out. It never would have been a problem. It just would have been forgotten about. But because that, and do you remember why that woman ends up ratting on her and telling Irina? Because she has problems on her paycheck with FICA. She takes out taxes from her paycheck, and she gets pissed off about it.
Why? Furio's place is pretty depressing.
It's a sad situation. And then they contrast this with Furio making this big sensible or this big classy dinner, listening to classic music, with Tony making microwaving some pasta or something like that.
Gotti, I agree with you, but it's even worse because, like, it's over weeks. Like, the thing that Pussy had to do was like a one-day thing.
Pussy had to do. Sorry, I'm bad. So Furio is just classically making pasta, making a beautiful oil for his pasta. He's got his hair perfect, and Tony
just the right amount of chest hair showing.
And Tony is putting his rigatoni in the microwave for.
That's not even a Tony Furio thing. That's just like an American Italian thing.
Furio shaving off the fresh cheese, Pecorino, fucking cheese. I don't know what kind of cheese it is. Drinking.
That's the wine that smells like feet.
Who drinks milk with fucking pasta though?
Dude, gross. Who drinks milk, period?
Like, okay, but it's fair, Matt. I'm not a big milk fan either, but some people are, and I can accept people being fan of milk, but I couldn't imagine drinking milk with a Italian dish. It just seems like a weird combo. Like, no. I would drink milk with, I drink chocolate milk. Not even often, but if I'm going to drink milk, it's chocolate milk, or put it in cereal or something like that.
Commendadore.
As Paulie with the plastic on his furniture. Do you remember going to people's houses when we were younger that had plastic on the furniture?
Dude, my yaya, 100%. Like my big fat Greek wedding style. My yaya definitely had that.
I think Wheezy and Katie and Teresa had that kind of stuff. And this is the end of our episode. We're watching a second episode, and we're just
gonna let this roll.
We're letting it roll. I might have to run to go fill my drink during the theme, but we're just letting it roll. Next episode, which is episode 11.
In like 3 seconds, right? It's like about to change right now.
Yep. Here we go.
I agree, Gotti. Never trust an adult who drinks milk with dinner. I thought I was weird until I realized, why would I don't drink milk anymore. I haven't had milk anymore.
I mean, again, I'm gonna add that it depends what you're eating. I feel like what meals go good with milk. If you're on hot ones and you're trying not to burn your mouth, you could drink some milk. But
sure.
But essentially, I think.
I mean, Phil, that's a pretty specific thing to be doing.
It is.
If you're on hot ones,
you may want to drink some milk. But other than that,
and he gives you the bomb.
The bomb beyond insanity. If you're drinking that one, you need some milk to wash it down, or you're gonna be in trouble. Breakfast is a milk. Right, milk is a breakfast drink.
To drink or to put it, but to drink straight up, no. To put it in the cereal. I don't even like the taste of milk. I would put oat milk in regardless because I think it tastes better. Okay, fair, but that's still a milk, right? It is. But I also wouldn't drink a glass of it. Right. I don't know. Right. I agree with you. If you could have cereal, kids drink milk with pasta, says Dwarf Burger. But I would put it in. Yeah, kids do. Kids drink milk with anything. Well, psychos. If I had my way, I don't even eat cereal anymore. But if I did. If I had no health conditions or diabetes and eat with everyone, I would just eat Frosted Flakes. The only cereal that I really 4 out of 5 meals. I like whole grain total, but I don't eat it with milk. I put it in. I'll eat it I'll snack on it, or sometimes what I'll do is I'll put it in ice cream. I'm not gonna lie, Phil. People who eat dry cereal are almost as crazy as adults who drink. Well, I'm just saying. I like putting dry cereal as well, or whole grain total into ice cream, and it almost simulates pieces of cone. This is a great one of these scenes. Yeah, great one of these. We get a lot of these scenes throughout the. Carmela's hair totally different now. They've made that intentional. Yep, and the worm crawling out of the back of Ralphie's head. The way that it goes from Gloria, and then cuts over to what's her name afterwards. And it just seamlessly is now it's her. My God. Special K with strawberries. What is some of your favorite cereals? I drink her. Matt, could you pronounce John Haymaker's comment? I drink horchata. All I see is my babysitter had plastic on her sofa. I drink horchata with Mexican food. Horchata with Mexican food, yeah. Because it takes the burn away. Okay, so that's similar to the hot ones thing. It's Special K with strawberries. I love Special K with strawberries. Anybody out there a milk drinker? I'm curious. Anyone enjoy milk? And if you do, hold on, we won't actually pick on you. I know that there's been a lot of shit talking, sociopath, psychopath. Go get some, but does anyone drink it? I'm just saying, right. And my curiosity is when I just don't like the taste of milk. Period. So it's not even I. And if you drink it, what foods do you drink it with, or do you drink milk onto itself? Is milk kind of like a meal in the drink? Cocoa Krispies, and also favorite cereals. Cocoa Krispies is fucking delicious. I could also see myself if I wanted to. I could see myself. I don't know when I'd ever be in this situation because I don't have like cookies in my house.
Dwarf Burger says, "Don't pretend oat milk or nut milk are actually milk. Just don't, Matt."
No, I'm not. I'm not saying they are. I'm just saying that's what I would drink. Mainly because I think milk tastes gross.
Inglewood Rose says, "I drink milk with everything." Okay, so Inglewood Rose likes milk. Do you drink whole milk, 2%?
Inglewood Rose without devouring too much personal information about yourself. If you want to throw us just a rough demographic of who you might be,
You're curious of how old Inglewood is to.
I'm looking for age and if it's okay, possibly gender, but I don't really care about either one of them. Oh, Sonic, your boy drinks it. Okay.
Okay, I like milk. I drink it all the time. So, and you drink it with any food? Like there's no.
Would you go out to a restaurant and order milk? That's a question. Like, would you go out
breakfast?
To dinner and order milk?
Breakfast, right?
Breakfast, sure.
I get a lot of calories from whole milk. Not a foodie. I drink whole. I put milk into foods that I cook. Like what if I make like fresh pasta type stuff? I'll put it in the regatta cheese to add a little. And I drink whole milk with cereal sometimes.
46 male. Wow, Inglewood Rose. I'm thrown for a loop now.
That's our age. Okay, so Tony's getting to that point again about to cancel therapy. We're a little bit on a side rant about milk.
Let's get back on. Stop judging people for drinking milk.
I'm not judging. You're the one that's been judging.
I'm judging.
You're the judger here.
And who am I? I'm a complete mess. I have more health issues than everyone combined.
Maybe you should start drinking milk.
Seriously, more milk.
I don't drink milk except in my coffee. So Tony thinks that
there has been a nice asshole right
and Tony also just thinks that therapists can immediately understand and know what a dream is. Like she's holding it over his head and trying to make him figure it out. Inglewood Rose says, "Makes my heartburn feel better." I can totally understand that.
That's fair. I get that.
Half and half. I used to drink those little half and half things in the restaurants. Like when my grandmother got coffee, I would just like drink all of her little half and half milks, like shots on the table.
Phil, listen, no offense. And people that know you personally outside of here, like Dwarf Burger and Gotti, are going to attest to this. Anything you say about what you eat, like
right. I try.
Anyone who knows you takes with a grain of salt anyway.
I try not to talk too much about, give any input on anything with food because I can't talk. I am the weirdest eater in the universe.
Yes.
Maybe it's this, maybe it's that.
Maybe it's not fucking cool.
What about impulse control? I've been in this chair for 4 fucking years and still
Do you ever use whipped cream? Do you ever buy whipped cream for dessert? I do, and I actually also put whipped cream or Cool Whip in with my cereal sometimes for like those are stuff that I will add total to, and I love whipped cream. Whipped cream's a guilty pleasure.
I'll mainline some.
I'll devour whipped cream, yeah. And then suck all the nitrous afterwards. I'll go.
Yep.
And I also like Cool Whip. I know it's not whipped cream. It's Cool Whip. What is it? It's Cool Whip.
I'm pretty sure, like, for the last 20 years, we're only allowed to say Cool Whip now.
Cool Whip. Whatever. Oh my God. I pass out when my mom talks about meat.
When you first came here, you were
So this episode, he's kind of questioning his therapy. He keeps trying to push. I think this is leading up. I haven't watched the episode after this in a couple weeks or a little while, so it's not fresh.
I haven't in a while.
I think this is leading to him quitting therapy and then having to go back after his divorce. So he's like getting to the point where he's just like, I'm done with this.
That's funny. Dwarf Burger.
Yeah, whipped cream and cereal tastes really good with, or you just mix it in and eat it quickly like that. It's just a good topping. And there's nothing more amazing than the whipped cream on the top of like a Sonic or a Dairy Cream shake, like the just the top of it, whipped cream like on the top of another shake, and then mixing it in, or whipped cream on top of hot chocolate is also one of my.
God, this is such a weird episode.
It is.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to get away.
No, it is. I don't mind us talking about this stuff because I don't want to talk about the fact that Bobby Bacala is about to go bury a cake at a grave and his kid just found it.
Yeah, and it's like, I can relate because there's weird fat guy stuff turned up, like tied up into that somewhere.
Look at he's burying the cake.
I know.
This is a big Bobby episode, and I don't mean that in the good way. It's a very big Bobby episode.
Big Bobby. Bobby's not someone to carry an episode.
I mean, I like Bobby. I think he's very serviceable. I think he gets better as time goes on. But I think they're still working through growing pains with Bobby in this episode a little bit. Not everything with him is perfect in this one. Speaking of what is perfect, this is our second to last episode without with Carmine Sr. Something
Really?
I think Carmine dies in the next episode. I could be wrong, but I think it's the next episode.
Well, we bring Carmine Jr. in here.
Yes.
He comes in this episode.
Yes, the idiot the second.
With all of his.
But looking at the little mini
Carmine Jr.isms.
But looking at the little mini images of the next episode shows the golf course scene. So I'm pretty sure it's the next episode that Carmine Sr. passes.
Oh, when yeah.
The steak with the toothpick is daddy's.
Yeah, creamers are shots for the kids' world. That's how I learned how to take woo shots, was taking creamer shots at Friendly's when I was a kid, when Nana used to bring us.
Sammy.
And by saying Nana used to bring us, I'm talking to
Try the mushrooms.
Dystope.
I don't know what they do with them, but they're delicious.
But he's right. Elaine Bracco knows, but wants to get him there on his own. I don't know if she even. Do you think she thinks she can get Tony there, or is it some weird addiction that she has that Elliot kind of calls her on several times, that she gets a sort of high from being close to the flame and being this close to the nightmare that is Tony Soprano's life and mental health? I think she gets high on it a little bit.
Yeah, but also imagine if she does get him there. What that sort of validates.
Yeah, imagine the paper. Imagine the Harvard journal that she can write.
Or just the personal satisfaction. Like, I'm that nice. I did that.
Yeah, fair.
Because you think of, she has, like, Gloria kills herself. She has all these people that I'm sure kill themselves or end up in terrible situations.
I wish you would have told me about it.
Now, remember, we're talking about television characters here. What is a worse fate? The fact that Bobby lost his true love, or the fact that his ultimate fate is Janice? Here, it's like he can see it. He can see what Janice is trying to do, and he's like, ugh. I don't know if he realizes how bad of a human she is.
I don't think Bobby Bacalao is smart enough to figure that out.
He eventually does, being married to her. I think.
Yes, but she's one of those people, much like, speaking of my exes, that one we talk about sometimes, that has a streak of Janice in her. You don't realize until you're too deep that it's like what you really got yourself into.
Right. And I think also when you're in it, and I think Bobby does this up until the end, you find the good in there and you rationalize it through those good moments. And I think Janice,
and that person in the beginning especially, is trying to give you their best.
And Janice works at it. And Janice, I think, works at it more with Bobby than she does with anybody else. She goes to anger man, not.
Dude, she goes
to anger management.
Relationships with friggin' with Richie Aprile and Ralph Cifaretto.
Yeah, it's bad. It's bad. It's two bad situations. I'll be right back, Matt. Garth this up for a little bit.
Oh, dude, if you knew how bad it was when you leave it to me to Garth it up. This is a pretty aggressive move by New York to just go in and actually start muscling around Tony's guy. Especially, well, I guess he's not really a straight guy because he knows he's in on this whole thing, but a guy who could go to the cops.
Go back to bed. Mickey Gerardo said Mommy's ghost is gonna come back and haunt us. There's no such thing as ghosts. The cake?
And this just a weird scene that.
Sometimes when I'm walking down the hallway, I can smell her hair.
This is just uncomfortable.
Yeah. Thanks for leaving me for a Garth with that film.
Yeah, no,
I was fine when it was Carmine, and then it cuts to this.
And I will say this though, I'm one that doesn't go easy on child actors. I think both of these kids pull off these scenes really well. They're just uncomfortable scenes to watch. And
that would have been with the best child actor in the world. That's an uncomfortable scene.
Yeah, they both pull this stuff off really well, but it's hard when you do those scenes coupled with kind of Polly Walnuts. It's kind of clashing. So this is again one of those moments.
This is fucked up too, where he's essentially saying we could kill Tony
and you become the boss.
And as far as us talking like this, it's just because we're all friends.
Janice is as manipulative as Tony. She loves the power. Poor guy was taking measurements. My mom took tons of McDonald's sugar packets, but did not take sugar in her coffee. I lived off of Wendy's ketchup for a year there. You could go in, and they had the pump, and I would just go and like do pumps of ketchup and walk out there. Or the super salad bar, and just like pocket those friggin' garlic bread.
This is a great Junior scene. There's not a lot of great scenes in this episode.
Yeah, this is. I'm not gonna say this is a bad episode, but this is not my favorite episode.
A lot of uncomfortable scenes. Like, it's kind of a Janice episode, which is.
It's a Janice and Bobby episode.
Yeah, which is a weird thing to exist in the world.
And again, not a bad episode in any way, shape, or form, but.
I mean, this is a very important thing that happens here, which is like the first times you see Junior, where Tony's he's already been kind of like, how much of this is the guy playing us?
And Junior is starting to fade. Absolutely. Gloria was Tony's best Gumar.
In what sense?
In what sense, best? But what do you mean by best? You mean the best television character? Yes.
You mean the most well-adjusted? No.
No. The most suited for Tony's lifestyle and set up in a Gumar situation? No.
No.
Probably Valentina would probably be the best suited for his life because she knows about it. He feels, or Irina.
Just the way he's looking at him there, trying to figure out if he's all there or not.
And he's not. You can see how disheveled and uncomfortable Junior is and antsy. And I should have stayed at my Guma's house.
So, what is the story there with you two?
What's going on? Tell us.
He's a great guy. He's just still very much in mourning. We're stuck at platonic.
You're also a psycho, Janice.
I'm sure God must have his reasons.
Might as well be an AJ episode. Not only that, Dwarf Burger, it's also there is some AJ in this episode, and there's too much of it.
Oh, is this the episode that AJ locks them or plays Ouija board with them?
Yes, that's still about to happen.
Oh my God.
Little AJ Devon scene, you love it.
Oh, I mean, yeah.
Bobby Jr. sucking up to him at the table. How would you feel if little Oriental kids were making fun of you?
So okay, so this starts what I like to call the AJ douchebag phase. I mean, he hasn't been insufferable quite yet, but this.
The worst thing is the AJ douchebag scene isn't even his worst phase.
No.
Douchebag phase.
The long hair, inept Tony Soprano is not gonna die phase is probably his worst phase. The suicidal AJ phase. Oh, Vic the Appraiser gets his whole ass kicked in this episode.
Yes, Wolfberger. That's when Tony actually learned that was his type of woman. Because then everyone after that. Poor Vic the Appraiser. Poor Pollock.
And this is one of those things that shows, Matt, how even if you're not necessarily in this thing of ours and you think just working doesn't have any downside and just helping out, this guy has no reason to get his ass kicked. And by the way, but
they also know they can do this to him because he's too deep in the scam to
report it. But I also forgot that Joey Peeps was more of a character before that animal Blendetta kills him.
But he's also someone that you don't realize is a character until after he's dead, and then you're like, oh no, that was Joey Peeps.
Yeah, Inglewood Rose. That's another thing that's gonna do that we're gonna talk about in our post series episode of what would happen if Tony did die. What happens to Janice after that situation? She's definitely getting booted out of Johnny Sack's house. She can't afford that place.
Look at this prick here. Paulie telling him, oh, they threw your appraiser a beating. You should go out there and kick his ass.
Yeah, he's just fanning the flame right now because is he thinking endgame of him being boss? Because that's what Johnny Sack...
He doesn't want to be fucking boss. Who the hell would work for Paulie Walnuts?
Yeah. Oh, and Beansy and friggin' Jackie Jr. Not Jackie Jr. Carmine Jr. Sonic, your boy. We can talk about this a little bit here. We'll talk about it more when we get to the finale because I'm not captivated by this episode right now. Did Tony really die? I would say the clues are enough and evident to say Tony Soprano didn't die, but I think they intentionally filmed it in a way that I think it's less magical or poetic than people would want to say. I think they filmed it in a way at the time so David Chase could make a decision to go back to The Sopranos and do a movie if he could get everyone on board. And if the untimely passing of James Gandolfini didn't happen, I think you would have seen a Soprano movie show up and maybe Tony wouldn't have died. But it would have depended on getting everyone back. Maybe you would have seen a trial of Tony Soprano movie. But I think essentially they set it up where it could be read in either direction. It can be read as a life goes on situation, or it can be read as the guy in the members only jacket shoots him. And they set it up with the silence, with the cut to silence, with how Sill's situation happens, with what Bobby says to Tony earlier in that season, where he says it's just going to cut. When you die, it just goes to silent or whatever. I forget the line exactly. But
yeah, right. They're out on the boats. Right?
Yeah, and they even flash back to that scene in the Blue Comment episode where Tony is in the safe house, and after Bobby's killed, they play the voiceover of Bobby saying that as Tony's remembering it, just to remind you of it. And then when Sill gets shot in the restaurant, or when the dude gets shot next to Sill in the restaurant, everything goes silent as well. I think all those moments are the clues that he might die, but I also think they leave some clues that it might just be another day in the moment, another day in the life, and time might go on, and Carlo is going to turn on him, and Tony's going to go to jail, or there's going to be a trial, that there might have been a movie.
Why are you so anti-Carlo?
Because he ratted at the end. They find out that he's a rat. He found it, and when they're sitting in the restaurant talking, and he's talking to Carmela, he says, "We found out he did flip." And
right. I haven't watched that final episode in years because I hate the way it ends.
We've got the one and only, the amazing Merle Tim Davis in the live chat right now, who's saying hi to our favorite Klingon in the back. I would call in to say hi, but I can't really talk right now. Sending you lots of love, Tim. Hopefully you're having a happy holiday season. Appreciate all the support you've given the channel over the years. And you might not be able to call in right now and talk, my friend. So you know what I'll do? I need to just shut my mouth, so I'm going to shut up.
Chop off podcast, Pam.
Yeah, that's right, Tim.
Chop off podcast, Pam.
Now, I've been in situations like this before, more on the end of when I was younger, like Bobby Jr. They'd be like, go your cousins. God, you could probably attest that. Go play with your cousins. And they were like, I'm playing with this little kid. I mean, they thought I was cute, and they threw me around. But I remember playing Ouija board with them.
Raymond was the character I couldn't think of. I know you don't even care about you don't even know what I'm talking about anymore.
Raymond
was the other guy that was another one of the informants.
Yeah, they find out he's the guy that dies in the back of the car.
Yes.
And then without them realizing it, and they're the reason why they put the screws on Eugene that leads to Eugene's suicide.
Right.
No, I'm with you, Matt. I'm with you. I watched this show way too many fucking times. So we're in a Ouija board thing. Devin shows up. AJ invites Devin over without
not Dwarf Burger.
I have a scheme at home.
For Devin.
Yeah, different. That took me a second. I understood your random Sopranos reference, but I couldn't make the reference that Dwarf Burger's name is, who's our friend in real life, is named Devin. So is this when? Yeah, this is when Sill and Tony start to put together that Paulie's probably the guy that's talking.
Yeah.
And they're keeping it. So, and this storyline is one of those things that's a carry through in that we don't really get the final outcome of this till Remember This or Remember When episode on the boat with Tony and Paulie. This carries through to the very end of the series, essentially. Yeah. And those conspiracy theory people that think Paulie had anything to do with Tony's death, if it happened, think that this is part of that, too, that Paulie knows that...
I don't think Paulie's not that guy.
I don't think so either. I think Patsy could be, but I don't think Paulie is.
The most important thing
I don't know if he dies in the next episode because we still need the episode where Carmine sort of disses Paulie.
Oh yeah.
Or maybe that happens at the same time. Maybe
Oh no, I think you're right. I think I might be jumping the gun.
It might be because then Phil Leotardo would come in next year, like in season 5, because he's there for 2 full seasons. So.
Is Carmine in season 5? Do we ever see Carmine and Phil together?
I don't know. I feel like Phil comes in for a fresh season.
Well, we'll find out in a couple before the end of the year.
It could be Whitecaps. He could die in Whitecaps. It could be like.
It's true. It could be. It could be. I think it is this season though. I could be wrong.
God, here's the weird thing about this kid's like, she's like, I felt it too. Like, just remember being a little kid, and if someone said they did this, they would like, you'd also be like, oh no, I heard it too.
Did you? I mean, with especially with that's the whole thing with the Ouija board, right? Like someone's pushing it.
What's that? How come he's only talking to you?
I will say this. I think he's a douchebag, but he's very believable in this scene. Like I've hung out with this kid.
Captain Jacobus?
Oh yeah.
What?
You know what I mean? He plays this character very believable. The only thing that's not believable is that Devin would like him.
Waves are smashing against the boat?
I mean, of all the things he does, that's probably the least harsh.
He's also partially trying to impress Devin there.
Yeah, but how's that impress her? She's a douchebag if that impresses her.
She is a douchebag. She likes him.
I guess. So you're saying to like AJ, you have to be a douchebag.
She's just scared.
Fair. I think it's a fair point, Matt.
How old is AJ right now in this? High school?
16, 17?
Bobby, look, he had a sponge.
Yeah, he's got to be. Is this the same year that he goes to the? Okay, the last time we hear about it. Oh yes,
I love Tony right there. You say goodnight.
Because he's still in high school when Carmela's dating Wegler, right?
Must be, yeah.
So I think he's either junior or senior. Good for Bobby Jr. for standing up for himself there.
I know. I so wish more people hit AJ like that.
Oh, Vic. I feel so bad for Vic the Appraiser.
I'm only the appraiser. That's his line.
What do you think you could hide from us?
Well, you can certainly run away from Vito.
Did they think he was gonna get a spin-off where it's like a sitcom where that's his catchphrase? I'm only the appraiser.
What? It's a sitcom, and he's always getting his ass kicked.
Yeah.
He's always yelling.
Yeah,
what a shitty tagline. What's your tagline? I'm only the appraiser.
I'm only the appraiser.
Oh, God, this scene here. This is the meanest Bobby ever gets to a female in the show.
To anybody. And he murders people.
I know. Barely.
Phil, thank you, Merle, for checking on in. Hope you have a happy holiday season, my friend.
Thank you. 16, we appreciate it.
Thank you. I'm just the gardener. Oh, Sal Vitro. Yeah, Sal Vitro. The Sal Vitro copied that line, too.
Yeah.
And I think this is the most.
Hasn't his wife only been dead for like 2 months?
Yeah, less than that. But this is
Janice. Relax.
This is a Tony thing too. They have like, when they want something, they don't have time for your timetable of healing. And I feel like this is the most Steve Sharippa we see during Bobby. Like he's like, fuck, I don't give a fuck. Fuck you. That's Steve. That's not Bobby. Yeah, shut the fuck up. That's Steve. Having watched enough of his podcasts and seeing kind of his tempo of his talk, that's more him. You could think that's, oh, wow, he can play like an asshole really well. No, that's...
Oh, no, that's just him.
That's the actual person.
That's when he's pulling his Tony Sirico and like just not acting. He just is Paulie Walnut.
John Amaker says, Janice needs to cool her tits and back off Bobby. I don't think Bobby's... No, you can directly say that if Bobby didn't get involved with Janice, he would not have died. Because if he wasn't with Janice, he wouldn't. She wouldn't have pushed Tony to give him promotions and push him up in the family.
Right, he would just be some schmuck still.
Yeah, watching Junior, he probably would have got.
So what is this right here? This is the same exact one that he had given to what's her name, right?
He gives this is his go-to give thing to girls to say goodbye to them thing, trinket.
Okay, well, that's it then.
These things happen and then life goes on.
Are you sure? Because if
Tony is so creepy when he's not. They're almost testing out what eventually becomes him trying to get Melfi. When Tony's not getting something, he's very stalkery creepy. Like the way
he also like doesn't understand, why do I not have this right now?
Yeah, and he turns it around right here and says he dumped her.
Yeah.
Because he can't. Do you think he believes? Yes, I'm going to answer my own question. Do you think he believes this bullshit that he shuffles? Do you think he?
No. He knows. He knows he got dumped. He wouldn't tell that to anyone. It's like Ralphie talking about this fucking chick used to make me want to do this to her. But and Ralphie knows he used to like to, have a gun pointed at him.
Yeah, no one ever fucked me that good, meaning like no one ever fucked his ass that good.
Right.
Every woman when I'm easing out the door, I'm such a fucking prick.
Look.
You know what?
Oh no, he breaks it down. He breaks it down and tells the truth.
It was she who gave me my walking papers. You believe that?
What I meant was
He doesn't want it.
She said that I was getting maintenance. And this is after all the time and all the money and all the fucking phone.
I mean, in fairness, part of therapy is you're paying, whatever. You're paying to like, listen to me, damn it.
That walks around on crutches half the time. Nice, huh?
I mean, what the fuck?
I'm a miserable prick. I've said it since day one.
and you're not interested in changing, in finding a way out.
The look. He doesn't even answer. Did they just cut this scene?
No, I guess not.
No. So is this? Does he quit here?
I said this last time. You just didn't want to hear it.
You pay me for my honest opinion. You should be in therapy.
All this fucking
Why?
psychoanalysis. What the fuck has it gotten me? Okay, maybe it got me some shit.
He's looking at it in the wrong perspective. I mean,
right.
What we do now is we sit around half the time shooting the breeze about philosophy.
and she's being delusional about her importance and how much this is actually taking to him.
Goes off, it's my fault. Okay, fine, I accept that. You know what she says? This broad. She's from Russia.
This broad.
Cool. She had some kind of osarcoma disease in her leg when she was 9.
See, Tony can't conceptualize the fact that what he should be examining is why he whatever. He does therapy for the wrong reasons. He does therapy to rationalize his own behaviors because he wants her to tell him it's okay. It's the same thing as the animal thing, Matt. Yeah, he went initially for a medical reason with the panic attacks, but
Other sources of pain and truth?
Pain and truth. Come on. I'm a fat fucking crook from New Jersey.
I mean, he's being really real right
I
here.
mean, at least he has some
And
self-awareness.
the baseline depression have been dealt with. The real work
What,
can
Lotus?
begin.
See, I knew you'd say something like that.
Because it's true. When we're
What,
not
Lotus?
constantly having to put out fires, we can really delve into who you are and what you're really after in your very brief time on this earth.
Again, Matt, do you think she thinks she can really help him?
I don't want to do this anymore. And you can say that I'm running away.
I think if she didn't, she wouldn't be a good therapist. I think you have to go in thinking you can help people, or else why you even do it?
I get no appreciation for it.
You've shown a lot of courage.
Do you think she fully conceptualizes everything he's done?
No. Oh, God, no.
Look,
He's in waste management.
no foul.
He does gambling. He's a bookie.
Yeah. He's a loan shark. That's it.
Cover my $300 weekend.
I haven't seen The Warriors. I'll give it a day in court. I just started our flag means
Warriors,
death.
what? The movie The Warriors, or is that a show?
Come out and play like that movie.
That's what I'm wondering. Yeah.
Is it like a TV show with based on the Warriors thing?
I don't know what The Warriors is.
Change your mind.
Merle Davis told me to check it out. And 94% of the people that were
The guy doing this with the fingers, like banging on the. You gotta find that.
And Matt, 94% of the people that voted tonight think that the intervention is the funniest scene in all of The Sopranos. Do you think it's the funniest scene in all of The Sopranos?
One of those votes was mine, so yes.
Yes.
It might be not the funniest line, but the collection of lines in a row. There he is, Mr. Type A personality.
So right there is Tony sort of thinking in his own head, I'm gonna have sex with you one day. I want to change the dynamic of our relationship from therapeutic to us having sex one day.
Even though she's married.
Is she divorced? I believe. And
Yeah, you're right.
And that will never stop him.
Oh,
Oh, Elliot. Elliot, you smug cocksucker.
Ha! He is a smug cocksucker.
Oh, another thing I learned from
Guess who's no longer a patient of mine?
the guy who plays Councilman Zellman
Yeah.
was originally reading to be Elliot, you smug cocksucker, but wasn't right for that part. And then David Chase kind of created the character for him.
So Phil, when I was watching this the other day, I didn't watch this.
Wow,
thing
look at this shit. Look at this. Look at this internet. So she hacks his computer and adds him on AIM. Is that AIM? Is it like early?
It's got to be early AIM.
Early AIM.
100% is, yeah.
AIM, for people that don't know what AIM was, that was the AOL chat rooms, the AM where you
AOL Instant Messenger,
where you could basically do something like that.
Rising Damp.
Who's Rising Damp? I gotta Google Rising Damp.
No, but that's so fucked up. She's telling him, and she's not there. Oh my god. She didn't hack anyone's computer. She just knew what his AIM handle was.
Oh yeah, this is where she's like playing the devil, and she's freaking them out even more. So Bobby.
So they know, like, how could the person possibly know that the Ouija board was on the third? That's so fucked up. That might be one of the. Like, she's scarring kids right there. She's scarring Bobby's kids right there.
But
her own.
Yeah, but Matt, she needs to get Bobby. That doesn't matter.
But that's the thing. It's fucking Bobby. It's not even some prize. It's fucking Bobby Bacala.
And those kids.
It's your boy Beans.
Beansy, he's a stand-up guy. Sorry.
Whoa.
Sorry, Beansy.
Too soon.
Oh, is that Larry? Larry Boy sitting there too? Is he one of the juniors? But Junior really is fucking Ubats.
I know. This is a boy who cried wolf.
It's their opinion that he understands the charges and that
Yeah, Czechoslovakian, that's a kind of Polak, right? And Christopher and the Pilot, one of the best lines in the series. You Prodigy Internet, the ISPs in the 80s.
court will convene on Monday at 9.
Yeah, I remember AIM as well. I still remember my AIM screen name. That strip got serious for a while. Lotus, why are you sitting near the dog head? That's like kind of creepy. See how she's sitting near the
Yeah, stop creeping. Oh my god, she looks old, Phil. I haven't seen her in years.
I mean, she's 12, 13 years old.
Wow.
Look at her just sitting there in the background.
Rosie just came in. I don't know if you can hear her in the background making noise.
No, I heard her a few times.
Hello?
I killed 17 Czechoslovakians. The guy was an interior decorator.
She's such a manipulative twat. What is wrong with her?
Oh my god.
Hi, good girl. Come on. Up. Up.
See, I don't even think Tony would do something that fucked up to kids.
No, he's not like that. She's here. She wants to say hi to you, Matt.
Hi, Lotus. Oh my God, you're old, girl. And as I'm saying this, Rosie is like about to be 15 years old behind me.
They've been playing with that goddamn Ouija board again.
Oh no, Bobby.
They were trying to contact Karen. What?
I don't know what to say, Bobby. I came over this afternoon with some pound cake.
So again, this is Janice just at her worst. She doesn't care about hurting kids and putting kids' feelings and emotions on the line to get what she feels like she needs to get.
Like none of that fucking them up, making them think someone is contacting them from
making
the
them think
afterlife
the devil is or a demon is contacting from the afterlife.
Yeah, and like obviously why would they contact them except that he knows that their mom's there.
Finally. I had to read to Sophia for like an hour. She couldn't even handle a Nancy Drew. It was too mysterious.
That's one of the funniest lines in the show. It was too
It
mysterious.
was too mysterious. That's a great line.
The dead have nothing to say to us, Bobby.
The Nancy Drew mysteries.
Narcissism that makes us think they even care.
This was one of those moments in the series too. I just never expected the pairing of Bobby and Janice, but obviously they liked what Bobby was bringing to the show and what Steve was bringing to the show, giving him more stuff with Junior. So they wanted to give him more of a focused storyline. So they put him with Janice, and I think it brought, from an acting performance, a lot of really great stuff out of Steve. But for Bobby as a human, I feel bad for him for having to have the last person he has closeness be in his life be Janice.
Yeah, and I know how we talk about how everyone on here is a psychopath and whatever.
Janice is
Bobby's the least. Bobby, if he didn't grow up in this lifestyle, wouldn't have chosen it, and he'd be doing something likely admirable. You know, like.
And I would say Janice is one of the worst.
Yes. Janice should, like, back in the 70s and 80s, Phil, when people who had like mental illnesses were just locked up their whole life and that was it, and that's what, like, that's the best situation for Janice. The world is a better place if Janice like isn't out there in the world being Janice.
I cannot argue with that point. So is this our first time? No, this isn't our first time meeting Carmine, right? No.
That's a weird question. I was thinking about that because this is the problem when you and I have spread this out forever. I mean, this is pre-Cleaver, obviously.
No, I guess this might be the first time we meet. No, this is. You're very categorical.
Oh, he starts off with the Carmine Juniorisms right away.
This guy's great. Another sneaky, awesome performance.
Did you look this up that this is his first episode?
No,
I'm gonna look it up right now.
I think it is.
Johnny's always usually a voice of moderation. Me and him, we get along good. So with due respect, let's not jump in.
Yes, Little Carmine is introduced. This is the first time we see Little Carmine.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm like 90% sure this is the first time we see him. He might be mentioned once before, but I think this is the first time.
No, and I think and this also lends to the fact that we think that Carmine gets killed in the next couple episodes because that's why they're bringing him in. Obviously, is to like prepare for the fact that that's going to happen.
It's to prepare for the season 5 war or the struggle for power.
Like, I mean, because if there is no Little Carmine, then the obvious heir apparent becomes Johnny. Like Johnny could just, slide in there with no issue.
Look, Tony. All I can promise you is.
Yeah, let me show you something.
I understand you gotta try
Just because you.
So we don't give you our mouth. Stick your nose in.
Tony, I haven't been afraid of my father for quite some time.
I mean, who would be a worse leader? I mean, I don't think Carmine Jr. would be the worst leader in the world. I just think he's stupid.
An idiot, though.
He is, but I think he would just. Tony would obviously lead things.
The proper response is not forthcoming in a business-like time frame.
But Johnny's a smart guy. That's different.
Yeah, Johnny's a tough guy to work with because he's very smart
and vindictive.
And he's got a rat on your payroll, essentially, too.
Bye, Dwarf Burger. We're almost done anyways.
Yeah, have a good night at D&D, Dev, and happy holidays. We'll be on one more time before the new year, but if we don't talk to you before,
that's
happy
right.
New
We
Year.
got to finish this up. Weird that they just got over the whole Ouija board thing and they have the candles out here.
Oh, it's a romantic candlelit dinner.
Is it just the two of them?
Yeah, I think so. I think the kids are already went to bed.
Okay, then that makes more sense. I thought the kids were there. It's like, yeah, let's bring back the whole seance vibe again.
Let's call your mother. Oh no, because they're eating Karen ziti, which again is awfully soon. Lotus.
Of all the great acting that Tony does in this show, this is the worst he does. He does a very unbelievable Italian immigrant accent.
I thought you were about to say, because of all the amazing acting that he did on the show, this is not it.
It isn't it?
I know. I just thought you were saying it in a slightly different way, but that's exact. I would agree. This is not Gandolfini's best right here.
No, him trying to pull off this accent.
Yeah, whatever happened here? Whatever happened here?
Whatever happened there? Tony is an immigrant. Whatever happened there?
Remember we were saying earlier in this episode that was a great vision or dream. This is not a good one.
No.
Hello?
Hello? I'm here for the mason job.
Who's in there? Is that Livia? Who the fuck is that?
I don't know. She's got a little bit of that Karen cut. Maybe it's Carmela.
Is it Slender Man?
Me no.
Speak
English.
You know, you speak it. Shut up.
No shit. You do know you speak great English. You don't speak a good thick Italian now.
You shut up. You speak English fine.
You know, speaking an Italian accent that good.
I'm coming in the inn. It could be Carmela. What happened?
Carmela, I had this terrible dream. I was trying to speak with an Italian accent. It was just awful.
It is bad.
They never nominated me for an Emmy again.
And they wonder why. Yeah, they wonder why Sopranos never won awards. It's right there. No, it won sometimes.
Won plenty of awards.
Not every year, surprisingly. Just like Breaking Bad, constantly lost to.
Well, Breaking Bad wasn't really a good show.
Oh, shut the fuck up! It's constantly would lose to. Well, what's that? The show with
wasn't it Mad Men? It would lose to.
No, Mad Men is what The Sopranos would lose to. The Breaking Bad would lose to. What was the name of it? It's with Newsroom, I think it is, with Jeff Daniels and shit like that. That would always lose to that show. Wait, is this episode like still going in the sense that we go back to New York and we meet with Carmine? Where do we go back to?
They have one more
back to New Jersey
phone call where Carmine does this. He does this to Johnny. You'll see him do it with his finger.
No, they did that. That was earlier in the episode. Oh, so this is the end of the episode.
Then that's the end of it.
So yeah, that's the end of our episodes tonight, and we have 2 more episodes left for season 4. I must admit. After
this is the best season, I agree with you.
This is one of the best seasons. Even this episode, which wasn't one of my favorites, is still a great episode. It's just hard coming off the high of the intervention episode. Yeah. Homeland would beat Breaking Bad. Bryan Cranston won.
Homeland. I mean, you want to talk about jumping the shark? Homeland jump.
Who is on Homeland? Claire Danes on Homeland?
And Mandy Patinkin.
The Six Finger.
And he was her boss, and I forget who the main guy was. It was Mandy Patinkin and Claire Danes.
Never watched it. Three times my mistake. Okay, so Cranston won it enough. Won it enough. I feel like The Sopranos had 1 year where they swept the awards and then didn't win it other years. But Matt,
again, no one knew what to make of it back then. It was like that was the only network show, HBO show that was doing that.
Yeah, Seinfeld kept losing.
Not network. That's not what I meant.
Seinfeld kept losing to Frasier, and I'm a big Frasier fan, but Seinfeld should have swept awards in the 90s. And when it comes to sitcoms,
weird? The only one of them that never won an Emmy was Jason Alexander.
I feel like it should have been Jerry.
Yeah, Jerry's a terrible actor, and Jason Alexander's a great actor.
He's the best one, especially knowing. Does it help? To me, it increases the beauty of the performance, but I don't think you need it to once you know who Larry David is.
Yeah.
It's once you know who Larry David is, it adds even more fire to Jason Alexander's performance of George Costanza, because he is absolutely capturing the essence and beauty of what is Larry David.
It's Larry David with a little twist.
He's meaner than Larry David.
Yes.
And he's not as, at least on a lot of Curb. I don't know if you watch Curb. On a lot of early Curb, he's always in the right. George isn't always in the right. Larry on Curb
George is very rarely in the right.
Larry on Curb usually is right.
The Curb stuff is supposed to be a reflection of stuff that could really happen in real life, whereas Seinfeld, it's not real.
Fair, but a lot of George's stuff is shit that actually happened.
Right, really did happen. Right,
really happened to Larry David in real life.
Yeah.
So there is that kind of contrast. I love when you see the two of them together, and if you're a Curb fan, it's great when they do the Seinfeld reunion where you get to actually see Larry playing George for a moment, and it exemplifies exactly what you're saying right there, Matt, because it shows how just what Jason brings of poetry to it. That I love Larry David, and Curb might be my favorite show of all time, but he's not a performer by nature. So George
is like a
Broadway trained. Yeah, he's a theatrical Broadway trained superstar, Jason Alexander.
Who comedy wasn't his first thing. Like he's not like Michael Richards is like comedy's his thing.
Yeah, he was on Fridays. I mean, Jason Alexander tried to break through. One of his first big breakthrough performances was the evil guy in Pretty Woman.
Yeah, the asshole in Pretty Woman.
The asshole in Pretty Woman. That was his first breakout big performance. He had hair and everything. He played.
And there was that McDLT commercial he did for McDonald's.
Oh, I don't know if I remember that.
He's in a McDonald's commercial.
Jerry is good at playing himself. Who is the best? And we'll wrap this up in a second here. But who's the best comedian at playing themselves in that way? Is Jerry better at playing Jerry than Ray Romano plays Ray Romano? Or
no, Ray Romano's a better actor than Jerry. I think Ray Romano's a better actor than Jerry is.
Is Jerry's better than Kevin James playing Kevin James?
Kevin James' character is just so unlikable.
Who else? I'm trying to think of other comedians that basically play themselves on shows. But Jerry is not a good actor. He's not, but he's not an ejectable personality on Seinfeld, and he gets better as time goes on. He has chemistry with those other three.
The problem is the other three are all great.
The other three are Hall of Famers. But
Julia Louis-Dreyfus has probably won more Emmys since she left the show than she ever did on the show.
And she was hilarious on Saturday Night Live. She is maybe one of the top 10 funniest human beings in the world. I would put Julia Louis-Dreyfus on. Like, seriously.
And for physical comedy,
Michael
Kramer
Richards
he's the standard. He's the bar. It's like Kramer is the bar for physical comedy.
And as we've said, we've already waxed poetically about Jason Alexander's performance. Jerry is the straight man essentially, but he's not a good actor. He always has this look on his face the whole time. He's like laughing at what's going on screen. Yeah. But I think eventually they lean into that and they find a way to make it work. It's more noticeable in the first couple of seasons, but I think he's definitely the weak link of that show, but it's still my favorite sitcom. No, I think Cheers might be my favorite sitcom. Joe Dirty Locks somewhere is saying MASH is his favorite sitcom. I think
Joe Dirty Locks is 100 years old then.
we'll talk to Joe about.
Have you ever seen Louis C.K. play himself on the show he had for a while?
Oh, Lucky Louie or Louie and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, he was
good at it.
He's good at play.
Richard Pryor and Eddie Murphy both play themselves exceptionally well. Carlin, when he shows up in acting roles,
what is Eddie Murphy playing himself in?
He's playing the Eddie Murphy character in Beverly Hills Cop and 48 Hours and Coming to America. Like, he acts too. He has roles where he really does act. But in those early Eddie Murphy roles, he's playing extensions of the Eddie Murphy stand-up comic character.
Okay, that's fair.
I think he eventually shakes that and same with Robin Williams. For a while, Robin Williams in early performances like Good Morning Vietnam, the Popeye movie even, he's playing Robin Williams stand-up riffs on a character. Moscow and the Russian movie where he plays the Russian character. But I think eventually he becomes an actor, same with Eddie Murphy. But I think on those early Murphy roles, he's doing that thing where he's playing an extension of his stand-up character. Mork and Mindy is all Robin playing the Robin Williams stand-up.
Just being right.
He's playing the
they're
Robin.
all things that could be bits of his show,
and he's probably the best at it. But what's your favorite sitcom, Matt? Would it be Seinfeld? Are you a Friends guy? Are you a
no? Seinfeld, like all time. I mean Seinfeld, although it's not like if it came out now, I don't know if I'd love it, but I'll still watch Seinfeld episodes nonstop. I know more about Seinfeld than probably any other show I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Now, having said that, if you would ask me what's the funniest show of all time, like yes, Seinfeld, but the shows are so nuanced and like into your type of, you know.
I might have laughed.
Like Veep is funnier than Seinfeld.
And I would say Curb is almost funnier than Seinfeld at times, but Seinfeld is just consistent in that 3-camera sitcom format. It's almost a perfect orchestra kind of series
of like what we grew up knowing.
It's so 90s too.
Yeah,
it's
for at that time it was the best. At that time it was the best comedy that ever been. I'll put it that way, in my opinion.
Yeah, I can see why people would say that. I think there's arguments that we could get into where I might even argue that The Golden Girls is the best sitcom of all time. And
it didn't age well though. You go back and watch some of those episodes and they're cringeworthy. But they tried to tell too many like. They had the
story
one
of the week.
Never did the one. Seinfeld never did that once, and it holds up way better. When they would do
fair, but those scenes sitting at the table talking over the cheesecake, ragging on each other, still hold up. They're eternal.
Yes, and again, you're talking about 4 actresses
that are gods,
absolute
that are gods. Yeah, that are gods in their performances.
All 4 of them,
the best around.
The best. There's no one you could have inserted into any of those roles that would have been better than them.
No, and I think that's what makes that series in some ways one of the best sitcoms, just because of the performances. Yes. Anyways, everybody, we'll wrap this up. We'll be back sometime before the new year. Matt and I will figure out when it will work, maybe even the week of the new year, but we'll figure it out.
Yeah, and we're lucky because Christmas is on like a Monday, so we kind of have like that week there. So either the week before Christmas or the week of Christmas would be my guess.
Probably that. Probably maybe that Thursday, the Thursday of after Christmas or something like that. We'll end up doing it because I think I might be jamming on the Wednesday and the Tuesday's the day after Christmas. So probably the 28th, I think it is, or something like that will probably be the day that we do our final season 4 episode where we talk about White Caps and break it all down. So watch.
And if you have not watched it or not seen Whitecaps, that's an episode. That's one of those ones in the top 2 or 3 with Pine Barrens that people talk about as the best episode that was ever made.
It's one of the most real depictions of a breakup I've ever seen on screen. And I can't wait to get to it because it's such a happy episode. No, it isn't.
It's really not.
It really is. But everyone, thank you so much for joining us. If you haven't already and you like this, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, share that channel with a friend. John Haymaker, if I don't watch it today or tomorrow or whatever, keep on me. Keep telling me to watch this bookie shit and I'll freaking watch it. I'll at least give it a try. I need something new. Everybody, thank you so much. We definitely very much appreciate it. We'll be back very soon. Talk to you next time. Peace. Oh, it's Hurley. The numbers. Good night, everybody.